So let's look at a couple of student examples where they've used Ersal in an actual exam. Okay, so here you can see a question. Now you may not have seen this equation yet, but that doesn't matter. That's fine. The potential difference across a piece of wire is, so there's a piece of information that's given to the student here. They're given a piece of information there, and they're asked to calculate a third piece of information. So they're given two things, and they're asked to calculate a third thing. So this is one of your classic equations in physics, where you have three different variables. So in this one, it's V equals IR, or voltage equals current times resistance. So what the student's done here is they've written it down, V equals IR. So the first thing they've done is they've written down their equation, okay? Then what they've done is they've written the rearrangement. They've identified that what they're trying to find is the resistance. So they've written their equation in terms of R. Now, this student has done that. If you look up here, they've drawn a little triangle, V equals IR. It's very hard to see, it's very small, but they've just sketched it in there. And they've used that, they've covered up the R, and they've gone R equals V over I, which is brilliant. That's good. So they've written that out. Then what they've done is they've substituted their numbers in. R equals V over I, so V was 2.1 volts, and they've put the units in the working out as well. I, the current, 0.30 amps, they put that in there. And then they've put those numbers in their calculator, got the number 7, and then thought, okay, what's the unit for that? Well, it's resistance, so the unit must be ohms, and they've put the unit on the end there as well. And then they've just written the answer down here in the correct box. That would have taken that student probably about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. They've got about 3 minutes to answer that question, so they've made up a bit of time. They've structured their answer beautifully. They've done Ersal from start to finish, and they've picked up all 3 marks. Fantastic. Let's look at another example. Now in this example here, okay, what the student's done is actually, the student's done really well here, but unfortunately they've dropped marks. But let's have a look at where they went wrong. So this is an example of where students had to work out an energy given a power and a time. So the first thing they did was they wrote the equation out as they've learnt it, power equals energy over time. Then they've written out the rearrangement, energy equals power times time, which is brilliant. So they're already, they've done their E, they've done their R, so they're already all the way down to their substitution. Then in the substitution, they put in the power, which is given above. You can't see it on here, but it is 150 watts. They've read that correctly. And then they've put the time in. Now the time they've put in wrong, because in the question it says 1 hour, okay, and 1 hour is 60 minutes, which they've identified here, which is actually 3,600 seconds. So they've put 360 seconds, which is only 6 minutes, not 60 minutes. So they've made an error, they've made a mistake, and that means their answer is now wrong. Okay, it's incorrect, unfortunately. So if we look at this from an Ersal point of view, they got their equation, they did that bit, they did their rearrangement, that's fine. The mistake happened here in substituting the numbers incorrectly. Okay, they didn't put that number in right. So their mistake is here. And the reason I show you this is every time students fail to score marks on a calculate question, it's always in one of these stages where they go wrong. And in this stage, it was here. Okay, and that was something that was put in to catch the student out. And unfortunately, on this example, it did manage to catch that student out.